I found Christmas decorations. Okay, so as you can tell, I've put up a couple of different Christmas decorations. There are lights strung, but unfortunately they're not really bright enough to see on camera. I kind of wish they were a little bit brighter, a little bit bigger, but they're not, or a little more colorful, but they're not. They're the lights that we had at the moment. I've got Christmas orbs out. I've got garland in the corner wrapped around the keyblade. I've got ornaments all over the place. And I found some Christmas stuffed animals. And Barry. And Stitch. And Tiny Mulan on a horse and the Nork from Frozen 2. So, and a Nightmare Before Christmas hat. Um, so, as you probably guessed by the title of this video, I am going to be talking about much more of my dissection of the scenes in Ralph Breaks the Internet where we see the Disney princesses. Plus Anna and Elsa, because technically Anna and Elsa are not full-on fledged Disney princesses. Although, admittedly, by the end of the first movie, Elsa is a queen, and by the end of the second movie, Anna is a queen. So, a little bit more of a give and take with that conversation there. Um, so, I'm just going to do much more of a dissection of that scene because I want to, and I'm actually recording this like the day at like a couple of days after Thanksgiving, and I've got all my Christmas stuff out because my mom and I decorated downstairs, so I took all my plushies off of my plushie tree downstairs, and Barry is no longer at the top of the plushie tree, but he will be popping up in a few more videos during the rest of December and partway possibly into the new year, depending on how the recording schedule goes. And then Barry will go back up on the plushie tree along with a bunch of the plushies, which are actually sitting in a box and a bag up here in the studio room, spare bedroom, whichever one you want to call it. And eventually they will end up back on the tree. So, diving into the Ralph Breaks the Internet princess scene. So I will be doing much more of a dissection of the scene where Vanellope, of course, meets the princesses in the princess waiting room, and then, of course, the rescue scene at the end, along with just a little bit more trivia that goes into some of that stuff. So I was looking all over to try to find the stuff that I needed for this. So, yay. So the initial thought behind the scene was several of the different people working on the movie were like, well, Disney has the Oh My Disney website, so do we want to work that in the movie? I mean, they're going to be on the internet, and it would be a nice, like, meta type reference to, oh, well, they're going to be on the internet, so why don't we have them go to Oh My Disney? And then eventually led to the whole thing of, well, why don't we have Vanellope interact with the princesses since they're going to be there? And, the which Disney princess is my best friend type quiz are really, really, really popular. So why don't we do something like that? And then, like, Vanellope has to hang out with the princesses and, like, kind of prove that she's a princess as well. And, go through all this other stuff. And then, have everything else happen for Vanellope where she ends up having to prove that she's a princess, and then, like, let's get the princesses, like, kind of makeovers, but they're, comfy makeovers instead of the whole, oh my god, ball gown all the time. Which, admittedly, out of all of the regular clothes that most of the princesses wear, Mulan and Pocahontas are probably the two most comfortable-ish ones because they're not in, like, ball gowns with, like, heels the entire time. Although, admittedly, I don't know how tight they make the kimono on Mulan, and, depending on the circumstances for weather, Pocahontas may not be the most warm. So, although, admittedly, in other variations of Disney princess things, they have given the different princesses more like winter clothes as well, for like more Christmas winter themed clothes. And in Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World, we do see Pocahontas in much more winter type clothing during the time frame in the beginning of the movie. But that's not what we're talking about. So it's also like the whole, let's get Vanellope around the princesses, and then Vanellope, helps them kind of get a makeover and everything. I mean, at the end of the first Wreck-It Ralph movie, we see Vanellope in her princess dress, but that's not really relevant for the rest of the time frame that she's in Candy Rush. She's technically like President Vanellope Von Sweets, and then eventually she is now like, currently via timeline stuff, she's actually in Slaughter Race now, running around there. Although seeing Vanellope race in her princess dress against Shank or against some of the players in Slaughter Race would be pretty interesting. So of course, the whole context for the scene is Vanellope goes to the Oh My Disney place because she's going to be like a pop-up ad for the different videos for Ralph, and she does, and then she ends up seeing, all of these, different places all over Oh My Disney that are representations of so many different things from Disney history and Disney franchises, because there's Star Wars, there's Marvel, there's, I don't think we see The Simpsons at that point in time, but we see Star Wars and Marvel and Disney and Pixar and like so many other things there. And then we see, Vanellope ends up getting chased by stormtroopers, which is just kind of funny. And of course, she's running around through the whole, area. And then she goes into the cast members only area, which is a reference to the fact in Disney World and in Disneyland, in most of the different parks around the world, there are areas that say cast members only, which is, of course, for the people that are walking around in costume, so they can go back there and either, do a change or have a break, or change out of their clothing and change out of their costume and into their regular clothing and everything like that. So those are for the cast members only. So of course in the cast members only, we see a lot of them being a lot more like relaxed in the background areas and interacting with each other from different movies, which is again just another thing that I loved about it. Because I kind of also put it as like a throwback reference to like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because I always describe the Wreck-It Ralph movie and Ralph Breaks the Internet as kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but with video game characters, because, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is, Disney and Looney Tunes and some other miscellaneous stuff all thrown in together in the same area because of Toontown. And then, interacting with each other and everything. And then we have, with Ralph Breaks the Internet, and with Wreck-It Ralph, it's, all these different video game characters from like Street Fighters and Mario and, Pac-Man and all these other things together. All interacting with each other. And I just like that. Also, I have no idea if I mentioned this in any of the previous times where I talked about Wreck-It Ralph, but Ralph was my grandfather's name on my mom's side, my mom's dad. Unfortunately, he died a long time before I was born, a long time before most of us grandkids were born, sadly. But back to the movie. Vanellope is, of course, running away from the stormtroopers, and then she ends up kind of, glitching herself into the door that says princesses, and she ends up glitching herself into the room. And then of course, as I mentioned in previous things, she then, when she glitches in there, the princesses are all just like relaxing and talking with each other, and then Vanellope glitches in, and then they're just like, they all go into like attack mode, as I say, and it's just like, okay, everybody pull out your weapons or whatever. And, and we get like so many different paraphernalia references to like so many different Disney movies. I'm going to go through them here. So for Snow White, and of course all the princesses have like their different vanities around the room and everything. For Snow White, we see that there's the poisoned apple and the magic mirror. For Cinderella, she has her glass slipper and a pumpkin. The glass slipper she smashes, and like you smash like a wine bottle or a beer bottle in like a bar fight and get like a sharp weapon, and she's got that. As that's her weapon. And then we have Aurora. She has the cursed spinning wheel near her. She doesn't really have a weapon. She also has a rose that she held during her, her deep sleep. And then we have Ariel, and she has her dingle hopper, which is of course the fork. She also has thingamabobs. And the candelabras holding the utensils and everything that were from her grotto, and she has her dingle hopper as her weapon, and she's just like holding that out to like point it at Vanellope. And then of course we have Belle. She has the enchanted mirror sitting on her vanity, and an inanimate Lumiere sitting on the vanity as well, because of course the curse has been broken. So Lumiere is back to being fine. Also, I did see a funny meme on Facebook that was like, well, when it comes to Beauty and the Beast, all of their, like half of their furniture got turned back into human. So did they have to go furniture shopping afterwards? And someone was like, Beauty and the Beast 2, the trip to IKEA, which just is funny in and of itself. But Belle's weapon is she has a book that she's been reading, whether or not it's necessarily the same book that she's supposed to have been reading from the original movie or just a different book. is left up for debate. I don't know if we ever get to see the book. For Jasmine, her weapon is she has the lamp. And then she has the flower that Aladdin gives her in A Whole New World, and then she has carpet. She also has Raja with her, of course, because, of course, you can't have, her without Raja. Or you can't leave Raja on his own. He gets sad when he's been left alone for too long. For Pocahontas, her hair is always in motion because of, the wind blowing through it and everything, even indoors, as a nod to, of course, the animation in the original movie for her hair moving so much. And she has her father, Chief Powhatan's, like, club staff type thing that he has throughout the movie. The one that he almost, hits John Smith with. And that is kind of, that's Pocahontas' weapon. Out of all the different Disney princesses, the ones that I would definitely say probably have some form of, like, self-defense training is definitely Mulan, obviously. Merida, yes. But I would actually also put Pocahontas in that range as well, because she's the daughter of a chief, and I would not be surprised if at least at some point in time she's at least learned some form of, like, self-defense techniques. In regards to defending her against, unwanted suitors, or just in general. That just seems like something. I don't know a huge amount about the Native American culture that she came from, but I wouldn't have been surprised if at least some of the women were at least taught in some ways to defend themselves. And, Jasmine, of course, has carpet in the background, as I mentioned. She's using that. And Pocahontas has her father's club staff. Mulan, we don't really see that much of, like, Mulan stuff, but she has, of course, the Faju sword, her father's sword. And that she's using as her weapon, that she's, like, pointing at Vanellope. For Tiana, she has the artwork that she has for Tiana's place for her restaurant. And she also has her man-catching beignets, as they're referred to, in the background on her desk. She also has a portrait of her and her mother and father, and Dora and James. And then she has her rolling pin as a weapon, which I think I initially missed at one point, but she has her rolling pin as her weapon, which I'm fine with. And then, of course, we have Rapunzel. Also for Tiana, she is in the dress that she wears at the end of the movie after her and Naveen kiss and they're married and they get turned into their, human selves again. She's in the green dress. Not that I don't like the blue dress that she has at the party. I do like that dress too, but this one's the much more fancy, princess dress that she's in. For Rapunzel, she has her paint box on her desk. She has Pascal. She has wall murals that she's painted, of course, all over the tower. And then, of course, she has her trusty frying pan as her weapon. And then we have Merida. And Merida doesn't really have anything on her vanity. I don't know if we even really see Merida's vanity. Several of the vanities I don't think we see just because, like, they're all around the room. And I don't know if we ever get, like, a full 360-degree shot of the room without anything in the way. And, like, oh, that's definitely Merida's one. That's definitely Belle's. But Merida, of course, has her bow and arrow, and she is, has her bow and one of her arrows pointed at Vanellope. And then we, of course, have Anna and Elsa, and I don't know if they share a vanity or if their vanities are just right next to each other, but they have their dolls from Do You Want to Build a Snowman sequence. They have the family portrait that's from Frozen Fever, depicting, Anna and Elsa and Kristoff and Sven and Olaf. And then, of course, for, Anna's weapons are her fists, and she's, got her dukes up and ready to fight. And then Elsa, of course, is her ice powers, or her, she's got her ice ready to summon for her to use. And then, of course, lastly, we have, of course, the latest Disney princess at that point in time is, of course, Moana. And she is, has seashells, has one of the seashells from, like, the beginning of the movie sitting on her desk. Sitting on her, vanity. And then she, of course, has her tapa rug in her area, which is the fabrics that they make that's on the island, that she has on the island, because we see all the different beautiful rugs and tapestries and stuff like that all over the island. And then we see, of course, that her weapon is the oar that she uses when she's on the ship, when she's, sailing on her boat to go and find Maui and then go to Fiji and Taka and everything. And, of course, and the oar is the one that, Maui signed with the heart and the hook because Maui. And, of course, like, they're all just, like, all ready to, like, attack Vanellope and everything. And, of course, then we get the moment where Vanellope's like, Everybody calm down, just calm down. Like she pushes down Cinderella's like slipper. It's like, you don't need to point the weapons at me. I'm okay. It's okay. I'm a princess too. You see, I'm a princess also. And everybody is just like, like they all kind of like slowly let their guard down and they're looking at each other like, And Pocahontas goes, what type of princess are you? And this is where I love it, where it's like it's Disney making fun of itself, and I do sometimes love when Disney does that. I do love when Disney makes fun of itself. That's just so good. So of course, you have magic hair, which is of course Rapunzel, because of course her magic glowing healing hair, which Rapunzel is in her full hair form in this one, not after she's had her hair cut at the end of the movie. Magic hands, of course, Elsa, because her ice powers. Can talk to animals, which is in this case referring to Cinderella and Jasmine and Pocahontas, but it would also apply to several of the other Disney princesses as well, because several of the other ones can talk to animals, either directly where the animals talk back to them in certain cases, like with Ariel with Flounder and Sebastian, or indirectly in the case where like Snow White can communicate with animals and they listen to her. And then, poisoned Snow White. It's like, Apple, are you poisoned? No. And I like how after Vanellope is just like, no, that doesn't apply to me over after every single one of them. I love it. Cursed Anna and Aurora and Tiana, of course, because of course Tiana got turned into a frog when she was cursed, and of course, we see Aurora's spinning wheel there. Of course, Sleeping Beauty. No, kidnapped or enslaved. Belle and Rapunzel. Belle, of course, technically was kidnapped by the Beast. And then, Rapunzel, of course, was literally kidnapped by Mother Gothel when she was a baby, just a couple of days old. And, so there's that. I love Vanellope's reactions to so many of the stuff. No, are you guys okay? Should I call the police in regards to like every single one of my hats? And, Vanellope's like, are you guys okay? Should I call the police? Which is the insane person's reaction for these things. Ariel, I have to assume that you made a deal with a sea witch in exchange for giving up your voice in exchange for legs. Vanellope, oh my God, good Lord, who would do that? Were you awakened by true love's kiss? They also show Snow White, but this, of course, also applies to Aurora as well. It does not apply to Tiana because it was not true love's kiss. It was turned Naveen back. It was being kissed by a princess. So there's a difference there. Different loophole on that law. And then of course when it comes to Elsa, there wasn't a kiss involved in turning her back. In regards to stopping Anna's heart from freezing, it was her sacrifice of wanting to protect Elsa, and then Elsa opening up her heart to Anna. I'll be doing a different video where like I break down the different like types of true love or love's kiss or kisses or curse breaking in Disney. And then of course also a true love's kiss also would technically apply to Ariel because Eric Ursula put in the thing of like the way that you permanently become human is you have to he has to kiss you by the end by sunset on the third day with true love's kiss. So difference there. And then of course we have, do you have daddy issues? Jasmine. Daddy issues would also apply to Pocahontas, Ariel. Let's see. What other Disney princesses? Not necessarily Mulan, but maybe a little bit Mulan. But what other ones have daddy issues? Tiana doesn't have daddy issues. She just, he's dead, but there's not issues in regards to that. But then it's just like, Vanellope's like, I don't even have a mom. And then we get that, neither do we, which is, of course, Snow White, Cinderella, Ariel, Jasmine, Pocahontas, Belle, and Anna and Elsa. Because, Aurora's parents are both still perfectly alive. Mulan's parents are both alive. Merida's parents are both alive. Tiana's mother is still alive. As I said, her father is dead, unfortunately. And of course, for Rapunzel, both of her mothers her mother and father are still alive. Excuse me. Um, so we have all those little interesting, list off everything that makes a Disney princess a Disney princess. Um, what are these different qualifications to be a Disney princess? And I just love that whole joke. That whole scene is just so funny. And like so many other references pop up throughout it. And then of course we have Aurora, or not Aurora, we have Rapunzel. She's like, and now for the $1,000,000 question. Do people assume that your problems got solved because a big, strong man showed up? Vanellope, yes! Thank you! And of course, the whole damsel in distress, which, okay, admittedly for the first 3 Disney princesses slightly applies. Also, the enslaved part also kind of applies to Cinderella too, now that I think about it. Not that I didn't think about that before, but it applies to Cinderella as well for being enslaved, because she was enslaved within her own household. But of course, like when it comes to, the damsel in distress, Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, the first 3 definitely qualify as damsel in distress. Later on, like with Ariel, we start seeing this shift out of the damsel in distress. Yes, technically Eric is the one that kills Ursula, as I went over, but there's a ship, and he's the one that knows how to steer a ship. Ariel does not know how to steer a ship, so it would make sense for him to be able to steer the ship into stabbing Ursula. Not that Ariel wasn't trying to help as well. So there's different reasons there for it's like why I'm okay with that, and then there's other ones where I was like, not as okay with. And then of course there's no prince involved in Moana's movie. There's no prince involved in Merida's movie either in Brave. Pocahontas is the one that saves John Smith, so she's not really the damsel in distress in that case. And of course, Mulan is definitely not a damsel in distress, and she's the one that saves China and Shang's life multiple times. So there's different levels of that here and there in regards to what qualifies as a damsel in distress. And then of course we have then we get into the clothing discussion, because this is when Ariel and Cinderella both start fawning over Vanellope's little hoodie outfit and fun little skirt that she has, and it's just like, oh, they look so comfy, and what are these? It was like, these are just my regular clothes. And then of course Cinderella's just like, we need clothes like this. I'll get my mice on it. And then of course I love this moment because they do like the Batman. I can't do it. I can't do the Batman theme. Sorry. Where they do like the quick change moment, and then like we cut to all of them in different comfy clothing, which I love this whole part because it's just like so many Disney references in here. And like the creators of the movie, the designers of the movie even said it, just like, we went through and made so many lists for different puns or different pictures or words or something like that would be perfect for references for the different princesses to be wearing in this scene. Like, what are some of the so many different things that like represent this princess? And I love how they pull that off. And of course, they're all just relaxing and everything. And of course, we don't get like close-ups of every single princess, unfortunately. Some of them we do, but they have such, you can of course freeze frame and you'll figure out what each of the princesses' shirts say, or like what the different designs are. And of course for Snow White, her tank top has artwork of the evil queen's poison apple on it, of course, and it just says poisoned poison underneath it, because that is kind of her thing. But I guess they also could have put like the dwarves on her shirt. Or I guess I could, they could have put like the prince kissing her on the shirt, but not so much. But like, yeah, they went with the apple. I'm like, yeah, that works. And of course we have Cinderella. Her shirt features the pumpkin coach, of course, and the slogan G2G, which is, I think it means good to go, I think is what they're aiming for. And so there's that reference, of course, and it's in reference to the G2G is reference to the stroke of 12 countdown. So she's got it. It's a reference to that. I also put it as like reference to like good to go, but I could be slightly off on that. You know, gotta get out of there on time. And of course, it's implied that, Cinderella's mice made all these different outfits and everything because, of course, Jacques and Jacques and I was gonna say Jacques and Trusty, but that's wrong. Trusty is in Lady and the Tramp. No connection to this. I don't even think we see any characters from Lady and the Tramp wandering around in the background of the movie at all, but that would have been fun. Um, and then of course Cinderella also says, when she's laying down after they get the clothes and everything, she says like, "So this is love," to like the comfy clothing because "So this is love" is the song that her and the prince dance to in the movie. And then of course Aurora's shirt says "Nap Queen," of course, because that's the reference to her being asleep for a good portion of her movie. And I think I probably mentioned this in the Aurora movie, or in the Sleeping Beauty reviews. But Aurora is actually the title character of a Disney movie that has the least amount of lines besides Dumbo. Because, of course, Dumbo technically doesn't say anything throughout the entire course of the movie. Most of the other characters talk throughout the course of the movie, but Dumbo never talks. He makes like the noises for like the hiccups or the sad noises when he's crying or, different things like that, but he doesn't really talk. And then, of course, Aurora, she doesn't say that much at the beginning of the movie. She sings with the prince and everything, and then she's like asleep for a good portion of the movie, and then she doesn't say anything even once she's woken up. So she doesn't talk that much. And then, of course, we have Ariel's shirt that says, Gizmos and Who's Its and What's Its and Snarfblats and Dinglehoppers, of course, which is just fun those are just fun to see on the shirt and everything. And I'll get back to Ariel in a minute. And that's of course references to all the different things that she has in her grotto and everything like that, and she still refers to them as that. And then of course Belle's shirt says BFFs, with the black silhouette as a beast heads, and that's beast friends forever, of course. Is what that means, which is just adorable, and it's still kind of the yellow, and like the shirts sometimes do have like the similar color to like the dress, like you know Aurora's dress has like, or shirt has like a similar coloring to it that her dress does, and like stuff like that. So I like how they still kind of like, the colors are still there, but it's a much more comfy way of wearing it. And then of course we have Jasmine's top. Her artwork is the genie's hand holding up three fingers, and it says wishes, so it's three wishes of course underneath that, and she's got like Raja curled up next to her and she keeps petting him. And of course, from Pocahontas' shirt is actually more of like a hoodie. It's a wolf howling at the moon that says "Blue Corn Moon" underneath of it, which is of course a reference to the song "Colors of the Wind." Because have you ever heard the wolf cry under the blue corn moon? And she has Miko with her, and she's like petting Miko. And then of course, for Mulan, she's not wearing any. Well, she is wearing like a shirt, but her main thing is like she has this like red jacket that she wears that has like Mushu artwork on it. The more stylized artwork of Mushu, which I'm like, I kind of want that jacket. That's a nice jacket. And the thing is, you can buy all of this stuff. Most of the little pictures I'm using up here, those are from just like places where you can buy these, these shirts and shorts and outfits and stuff like that, of course, because if Disney is going to do this, then they're going to get the marketing right, and they're going to let you buy the outfits, of course. And of course, they release whole lines of like, dolls with the princess's new outfits on them, which I love. Which I'm just like, part of me wants those. And then of course for Tiana, her shirt is green and it says NOLA, which is New Orleans. NOLA instead of YOLO. It's NOLA. And Tiana's hair is much more on the frizzy side at this point in time, because she doesn't have it like all combed and brushed back and tied up in a knot and everything, tied back. And of course she's just relaxing and everything, and like the O in the middle of the shirt is both a reference to Naveen and the crown, because it's a crown on the O, and that's a reference to Naveen and the Princess and the Frog, of course, logo with her being a frog princess. And then we have Rapunzel's shirt has the snuggly duckling bar house on it, and then her leggings are patterned with like the Corona sun pattern all over them, which I like. And then we have Merida's shirt, which is Myrida is like wearing like blue flannel-esque type stuff. And it's still similar to like the color of her dress, but she's the main one because like her dress is usually depicted as green, like a very nice forest green. But in this case, they went more with a little bit more for blue, and of course, Pocahontas' shirt is more blue. Hoodie is more on the darker blue side. But Merida's has like mum written on it, and it's a bear, of course, because of course she turned her mother into a bear. Um, And then on his shirt has artwork that's a sandwich, and reads, "We finish each other's sandwiches." Of course, reference to the song that her and Han sing, of course, in the movie. Um, regardless of Han. And then of course Elsa's shirt is just says "Just let it go," of course, because Disney making fun of itself as they are apt to do. And then of course Moana's shirt is like an orangish shirt that has shiny written on it, and then it has like the artwork of like Tamatoa the crab on it, which they also could have they could have put like Maui on the shirt, or they could have put like like the heart of Tafiti on there, or put something to do with like the sailing, like the wayfinding that she does, or have it saying, how far I'll go or something like that. But I like the shiny. That's just funny. And then, of course, we get into singing. And what happens is, of course, when Ariel is, wearing her shirt and everything, she's just like, oh, I'm so happy. I never thought I'd get to a chance to wear, what's it called again? Oh, yeah, a shirt. And then she starts singing, and she's about to just start singing and let it out, and like the light zooms in on her, and like the music starts, and like she just starts singing, and then Vanellope goes like, whoa, 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 wait. Uh, Everybody else saw that, right? The music and the lights and the yeah. Please tell me I'm not the only one that saw that. And they're like, yeah, that happens whenever any of us sing. And Vanellope's like, wait a second, that's normal. It's like, yeah, it's what happens when any of us sing. The lights show, the music starts and the lights zoom in on us, and we get the spotlight, and it's great, and then we sing about what we want. Vanellope's like, but I, how? I don't get it. And fair point, I don't get it either. Um, but of course, this is a reference to the fact that most of the princesses sing in their own movie, or have like a solo song that they sing, or like a song that they sing with the prince in certain cases, um all except for Merida. And I'll go through that because of course Snow White has, of course, the song, "Someday My Prince Will Come," and she of course sings, the whistle while you, or not whistle while you work, but the cleaning song and everything like that. So she sings multiple times throughout the movie. Same thing with Cinderella, for her when she's cleaning, and a dream was a wish your heart makes, and then the so this is love that she sings with the prince and everything. So we see all that. For Aurora, she has her song at the beginning of the movie that she sings with the prince. And then of course Ariel of course has Part of Your World, and so on and so forth. Jasmine sings Part of a Whole New World. Pocahontas of course has so many of the songs, Steady as a Beating Drum, and Colors of the Wind. And of course Mulan has Reflection, on top of, she does sing in part with the guys with the I'll Make a Man Out of You, and like some of the other songs of course that are there throughout the course of the movie. And then all of them sing. All of them sing at some point in time, except for Merida. As I've stated, there is a song in Merida, but it's background music. It's not Merida singing it. It's meant to be like Merida's inner voice singing the song, but it is not Merida being the actual one to sing it. So there's a big difference there. But like all of them are just like, oh yeah, that happens whenever we sing. Yeah, the light comes on and we all just start singing everything. And like Vanellope is so confused by this, and I don't blame her. And then it's just like, so you guys all sing and it just happens? Yeah, but why? And I love how she's questioning it, and it's just like, well, it happens whenever we start singing about something we really want. Why don't you try it? And then of course Vanellope tries singing, it's like, I want a steering wheel, and no, that doesn't work. She doesn't want a steering, that's not her goal now at this point in time. Her inner thoughts have shifted. And it's like, well, it helps if you sometimes stare into water. A lot of us do that, it's like Moana, all of them, Snow White. I stare into a wishing well, Cinderella, soap bubbles, Pocahontas, the river, Moana. I stare into the ocean, Mulan, horse troughed. It's like there's like lakes or ponds or rivers or oceans or like, whatever other types of, water. Tiana, well, Tiana doesn't really like sing while staring into the water because she has her version of the I Want song is almost there. That she sings with her and her mom when they're looking through the building that she wants to buy and such, and there's like other stuff. Not that she doesn't sing when they're in the bayou and everything, but it's not quite the same thing she's singing before that. But like a lot of the other ones, like there's preference of like staring into the ocean, or in regards to Ariel, she's literally in her version of important water, um, which is funny. Um, and then they're all just like, yeah, it's all important water. You just need to find the right type of water and stare into it. And they're just like, Vanellope is just so baffled by this. Very, very baffled by this. And it's just funny. Um, and then, like C3PO comes in, and I guess he's like their handler, their butler, or something like that. But he's just like, time to get into your gowns, ladies. We've got 5 minutes till the next princess best friend quiz. And then he walks out, and I like that. That's just funny. And then, of course, Merida says something, and it's the joke of, oh, she's from the other studio. And initially, what she's supposed to say, and I apologize for anyone who is Scottish and watches this video, she is supposed to say, her original deleted scene, she's supposed to say, I gave my mummy a cake, and she turned into a big bear, and then my old man I apologize. She's basically saying, well, I gave my mom a cake and she turned into a bear, and then my dad tried to kill her, and it was a big mess. And if that wasn't a big mess, then I don't know what was. And I was like, I just can't say that the right way. But in actuality, she says, in the movie, she says, whole big long thing in Scottish that, like the Scottish brogue and the accent and like actually in Scottish type of a thing. And just like, oh my god. And like all the other princesses are like, Vanellope's like, what did she say? We don't know. We can't understand her either. She's from the other studio. Pixar. And of course, what Merida is actually saying is it's a New Year's Eve approximate meaning, greeting or message, farewell, that approximately means, long may your chimney smoke and may no mice steal from your grain storage. Hurry back, little girl, is basically what it all means. So, it's like wishing Vanellope good luck and everything. And then she heads off to, go, and she, this is of course when Vanellope then, stares into her version of important water, which is a puddle, and then she ends up in Slaughter Race, and then she has the whole song where she sings with Shank about, in this place called Slaughter Race, which is, as I said, it was written by Ellen Menken, so that's just funny. And Sarah Silverman and Gal Gadot sing it, so we do get a song in the movie that way. So Vanellope does get her princess song, even though Vanellope is technically not a Disney princess because she's like computer animated. Not computer animated. She's a video game, not like a human. And then we get into the last bit, which of course where the princesses are saving Ralph when he's fallen from the sky. And in regards to this, I like how they, each princess, it's like each princess is getting like their moments throughout, of course, the whole set of the movie. And in this one, each princess does something to help save Ralph. They're like, oh my God, there's a big strong man falling. We have to save him. And then of course, Moana summons the ocean. Like flies up out of this fountain, and then Ariel jumps into it and like twists it and forms it into a slide. And then Elsa is on top of Jasmine, on top of carpet with Jasmine, and they catch Ariel, and then Elsa like freezes the slide into the right frame, and then Ralph starts sliding down the slide. And then we have Aurora and Rapunzel are using Aurora's spinning wheel because Aurora is just gonna learn how to use the spinning wheel anyway, and they like spin Rapunzel's hair into different into ropes, and then like those ropes get attached to bows and arrows that are fired off by Merida, that then land near Cinderella and Anna, and like Cinderella's mice, Jacques and Gus, of course, are there, and we see them, and like they help tie off everything. um, and then Cinderella and Anna attach the dresses to the ropes that are made from Merida's hair. I don't think they're so connected, or that are made from Rapunzel's hair. Excuse me. They're not still connected to Rapunzel, so I'm assuming they got cut. So that kind of goes against the fact of like you cut Rapunzel's hair and it's supposed to die and go black or go brown and lose its power and everything. But this is outside of the laws of the movie, so yeah. I don't know. Um, but you know, they have all that, and then like Aurora and Anna and Cinderella, of course, attach the different dresses to it that are attached to Snow White's dress, that are, you know, it's connected to the rope, and then, you know, Ralph lands into the dress, the Snow White dress, and then Mulan, Belle, and Snow White work together, and like Snow White has just like poison apples on hand at any given time. She like throws that to Belle, and Belle hits it with a book and knocks it into the air. And Mulan, you know, slices it all up into 4 pieces, and it lands. And there's like wooden pegs holding the hair in place, and it melts the wooden pegs with this poison. And then the dress falls, and Ralph's inside the dress, and they like parachute. The other Volcans from the princesses like turn into parachutes, and then you know, Pocahontas uses the wind to, you know, move the dress gently to like this mattress, like royal mattresses or whatever it's called. And then like Ralph lands on this, you know, the very nice princess looking bed and everything. And then like Tiana's there, and you think Tiana's gonna wake him up with a kiss, but it's not. She lifts up Naveen in frog form, and Naveen kisses Ralph, and that wakes him up. And then he like kind of is like kind of freaked out by all the princesses around him. He's like, who are all of you people? We're friends of Vanellope's, and any friends of Vanellope's is a friend of ours. Merida, you're welcome. um, and like, you know, Ralph is very polite to the princesses and everything. And like, you know, they're friends of Vanellope's. We're good, of course. And then, you know, everybody's like all happy and everything. And then, of course, during the whole, when they're rescuing Ralph section, different musical cues come in from the different movies and stuff. Like, you know, How Far I'll Go comes in for Moana, that part of that musical cue, and Part of Your World comes in for Ariel. The Great Thaw and Vuel comes in from Frozen for like when Elsa's using her ice powers. The avalanche theme from Mulan comes in when she slices out the apple. You know, Someday My Prince Will Come from Snow White is there at one point. Colors of the Wind, of course, comes in when Pocahontas is, you know, using the wind to move her over. And Down in New Orleans theme kind of comes up with Tiana. So we get all those different things that I just love, 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 love. As I said, it's a good thing I didn't just dissect this whole scene when I did the Ralph Breaks the Internet video, because this is already a really long setup. But I love it, so I don't care. And, you know, so it's like Ralph is fine, of course, and, you know, the princesses all got to interact with Vanellope. I'm assuming they all say goodbye to Vanellope, and they probably still like change into their comfy clothes outside of, you know, during the quizzes, or having to go and interact with, you know, the fans and everything like that, which is just kind of funny. And of course, I did mention this in the actual review of the movie, is that every princess who the person that voices them is still alive and is able to do the voice came back to do the voice of the princess, and I love that. Because a lot of the other stuff is like archive footage that they had, because like you hear Buzz Lightyear at one point go, you know, to infinity and beyond, and it's just, you know, the you know, archive footage of, you know, Tim Allen's voice. But you don't really, you know, the princesses all have like new lines in the movie. Yeah, they make references to other songs or other things from their movies, of course, but they're all new lines. So they don't really have stock footage for those. And particularly for Snow White and Cinderella and Aurora, all three of their actresses, I know at least Snow White and Cinderella's their actresses have passed away a while ago. I do not remember off the top of my head if the lady that voices Aurora is still alive, but even if she is, her voice is not within the right range that she would be able to do the stuff for the movie, unfortunately. So of course they brought in new people to voice them, but they're the, you know, kind of the official Disney ones that voice them anyway, or so. So we have Pamela Ribon as Snow White. We have Jennifer Hale as Cinderella, who I've mentioned multiple times. We have Kate Higgins as Aurora. Then we get into all the ones that are still around, of course, and played the princess in their respective animated movies. We, of course, have Jodie Benson as Ariel. We have Linda Larkin as Jasmine. We have Irene Bedard as Pocahontas. We have Ming-Na Wen as Mulan. We have Anika Noni Rose as Tiana. We have Mandy Moore as Rapunzel. We have Kelly MacDonald as Merida. And for some reason in my head, I think that the lady that voices Merida is also the Gray Lady in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, The Ghost of Ravenclaw Tower. I think that she's that same actress. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. We of course have Kristen Bell as Anna, and of course Idina Menzel as Elsa, and then we have Alii Cravalo as Moana. So all of them are still alive, and they can easily come back and voice them. And of course, so many of them did come back, and it was like, oh, we had to do this again, okay. And then of course at the premiere of the movie, they had all of them that were there all together do like a big picture in front of it with Sarah Silverman there as well. I don't know if they had Gal Gadot in the picture or not. I don't remember, but that would have been awesome. It's like Disney princesses plus Wonder Woman. I am okay with this. Yeah, I know there's a lot of technical Disney princesses that are unfortunately not official Disney princesses, like Giselle or Eloane from The Black Cauldron, and a couple other characters, Kida from Atlantis and several other things. Admittedly, Kida is a queen by the end of her movie, but she gets the point. And Meg is not a princess, even though she married a freaking demigod. She does not qualify as a princess. But it's like I just love the scenes that they had in this movie where it's like all the princesses together, and that just made my inner child so happy. Like they have like so many of the promotional arts for it have the princesses on it. Like they have like Vanellope and the princesses taking a whole bunch of different selfies, which is just fun. They have, of course, they use the scene for Vanellope interacting with them as like this big thing to help promote the movie. Those were part of the trailers a lot of the times, where when Vanellope is like interacting with the princesses, or those would be some of the big scenes that you would see, because they're not really like super overall plot point of the movie, and the fact that it's just like, oh, we can show this and there's not spoilers in it, and we're not going to show the whole thing, but we'll see them in like them in their outfits, and then like maybe them in their casual clothes, but we're not going to go into like the meat of what those scenes entail necessarily. And I did like that. And of course, the princesses are on like the cover art for it, because it's like, why wouldn't you put the princesses from Disney on the cover art for Ralph Breaks the Internet? Because that makes sense. And we see them there, and they're in a lot of the promotional artwork, as I said. And you can get doll sets that have like the outfits on them, and those are fun. And you can buy the clothes as well. You can also just buy the versions of the dresses as well if you want to. That's also okay. I do know that at like Disneyland and Disney World, at like Cinderella's castle or like different places, they have like the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, where like you can take your daughter in, and like the daughter will get like the princess treatment. They get like this amazing dress that's kind of like a spitting image of like whatever dress that like said princess wears in the movie. They get to pick the outfit and everything, and you get that, and they're beautifully made dresses, and you get like your hair all done, and you get makeup, and like this whole experience and everything that you get. And I'm just like, I'm too old for that, I'm pretty sure. Not that I'm sure they wouldn't have like stuff catered to adults to do the same thing in regards to women want to dress up like the princesses anyway, which would be kind of fun. A little uncomfortable depending on the dress, but if I had a daughter and I took her to Disney World or Disneyland and I had the money and she wanted to do the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, I'd be like, sure, we can do that. I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Because I mean, like, I went to Disneyland or Disney World when I was like 4 or 5 for the first time, and I remember seeing the princesses, and at that point in time it would have just been Snow White and Cinderella and Aurora and Ariel and Belle and Jasmine, and possibly 5. That might have been all the ones that were out at that point in time where they had them like in the parks themselves. But like I don't remember if we have pictures of me with them or not. But you know, we see them a lot. And, you know, it's like I remember seeing them. I remember seeing we went and saw a musical version of Beauty and the Beast that was there, and I remember that, and that was really well done. I have vague memories of that. I was like 4 or 5, so I don't remember everything, but I remember a lot, and that was fun. Um, but like you know, so you see the different princesses there and everything. Like I'd be like, sure, we can do the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. That works for me. Um, so video ran longer than I intended it to. Sorry, there's a few snippets here and there that I'll have to do, but that's what I have for the Ralph Breaks the Internet princesses hanging out scene and princesses saving Ralph and everything, which I love that they did that. I have no idea. Um, at the time when I'm recording this, I still have to watch Frozen 2 and then do that review, and then watch Raya and the Last Dragon and do that review. Not that I've never seen them before, but you know, get them watched for the review for the movie and everything for the channel and everything for the, you know, because I haven't recorded them at this point in time when I'm recording this, and it'll go up possibly after one of those comes out, depending on my schedule for the next couple of weeks, because it's around Christmas and we got a busy schedule. My cousin's playing Maria in a version of the Nutcracker Delights, and we got to go watch that because she loves it, and she's, you know, playing Maria, so why wouldn't we go and see that? And you know, other things that we have around town, and you know, family parties and stuff for work, so there'll be a lot of stuff there. So I got a bunch of videos already recorded that'll be going up through December and into January, and I will try to throw up a couple of different Christmas ones at some point in time. I might do some reviews of some of the different Christmas Disney movies that they've done over the years that are like Mickey Mouse ones, or I might, just because it's one of my favorite ones anyway, do like a review of Muppets Christmas Carol, which I just love anyway. But you know, we'll see what happens with that. So that's what we have for this video. I thank you very much. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I has Baby Yoda on my shirt, Joy to the Galaxy. And I hope that wherever you are for the rest of this month and everything, and going into the new year, depending on when this goes up, I hope that you have a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and that you have a Happy New Year and everything like that. And, you know, and enjoy all of that, and enjoy time with your family as much as you can. So, bye. Do people assume that all your problems got solved because a big, strong man showed up?